I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Good to see you. I'm Abs of October Red, and we're having a catch up. There's a lot going on in boxing. We've got the two events happening this weekend. November the 16th seems to be a busy one. So if you're joining us, whether you're watching it at home, got it on your phone, it's connected to your car stereo as you're driving back from work, welcome to all of you. I've entitled it Tyson and Paul versus Latino Night. I'm not one that looks at any numbers because I don't. But it was pointed out to me, so shout out to you if you're listening in, by a friend of mine in the industry that says the numbers, there's a massive disparity with the numbers that were tuning in, flicking between obviously Most Valuable and obviously the DAZN broadcast for the Latino Night. And there was a massive disparity in numbers. Somebody commented and said, look how many subscribers Netflix have got, but it wasn't on Netflix, YouTube. It was on Most Valuable. And I think it was over 500,000 when I checked. And that was for the press conference. Exciting times. And you know me, I always look at the business side of stuff. And this is Netflix's debut, isn't it, more or less? This is Netflix's debut into boxing. If you don't know, I spoke to Alfie Sharman. I was saying, look, what if there's another app that's going to start to challenge DAZN that could potentially start hosting boxing on their channel? How are you going to deal with it? So it's quite interesting to see the pull, the advertising that Netflix are doing for this fight. So anyway, without further ado, I've always got to go to the chat. The chat is why I'm here. The subscribers are why I'm here. So yeah, a warm welcome to all of you that stayed, and obviously the new ones that are tagging along the way as well. Welcome to you. Toby Ringo Bartlett's in here, nice and early. Big up Abs and the chat. Big up to you as well, Toby. You probably get some ring girls over in America this weekend, I think, but not for the other one. Karma, good evening to you, or I think it might be good afternoon. Is it still morning? Karma, if you haven't checked it out, please go and look at the beautiful picture of Karma in a uniform. I think you're serving in the army. Let us know in the chat, Karma, because I know you posted something up for Remembrance Day. Beautiful picture. Loved it. You reminded me of the hairdos that I used to do as well. I used to sweep the hair over my big old forehead because, as you can see, it's quite pronounced. Right, let's have a look. We've got Ra as well. Good evening to Ra. How you doing? Hope you're all good. Chris, it's always good to see you, mate. Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. And obviously, hope you're all well. Rose Hops, good evening to you. Hope you're all good. Rem, how you doing? Yeah, like and subscribe. I always put the banners there, so I haven't got to keep saying it. Do you know what I mean? We've got to get up to 10K, guys. I need to get up to 10K because when I get up to 10K, I can put my IG on private, post a picture a week, and just flood everything through YouTube and TikTok. I'm getting bored of IG now. Can't even go live. Really, I should be streaming live on X, YouTube, and IG. But I don't know. IG says, you can't use this facility. It's morning. Okay. Let's have a look. I must be the only guy alive that prefers pay-per-view. I just want to pay for what I watch. I don't subscribe to anything because I just don't watch enough TV to make it worthwhile. Yeah, you might be the only one. I think I've got like 900 subscriptions for different things all over the place, which does, when you tot it up for TV subscriptions, and this is why I will say TNT don't have a go at me, but when obviously Queensbury move over to DAZN, it's one less subscription. And you guys know that BT Sport, TNT, it's not a cheap subscription. So that'll be very nice to cut back on the subscriptions because I don't watch football. So it's not something that I'd keep. So, yeah, I don't like pay-per-view, but I understand it's the best way for the fighters to generate the higher income. Yeah, Toby's reiterating Yep, the MVP have got ring girls. I bet they have. Blue Sky Media thing. I don't know. What's that? I've never heard of it. Let's have a look. G-Man saying, we can't forget Mike Tyson is one of the biggest names in boxing, as well as Jake having a huge social media presence. Doesn't surprise me it's had more views. And you know what, G-Man, that's where I'll have to take a slap in the face and, you know, one for a better word, give my head a wobble over it because, yeah, I should have thought of that. I just make these assumptions that obviously the boxing event, like the other boxing event, which is over in Saudi, Riyadh season, obviously you've got Chris Billam-Smith fighting out there. I just thought that might have pulled more traction, but clearly, and we can't forget the girls on the card as well, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, both of them. You know, when you watch a press conference, they're just so ladylike, so respectful. They know they're there to do a job, but the way that they speak about each other, they're like, look, we're here, we're making money, we're doing things for women in the sport, pioneers, trailblazers, however you want to put it. And there's just that good sportsmanship, that etiquette that both ladies have, which is very appealing because it's not all the time that you want to see people going at each other. So yeah, that was quite refreshing as well. But like you said, G-Man, Mike Tyson draws a huge audience because of the veteran, because of the living legend that he is. And like you said, Jake Paul, YouTuber, you know, I've met him, I've spoke to him when he first started managing Amanda Serrano when they came over to the UK for the Katie Taylor one fight. Both of them were lovely. Jake Paul was amazing. Gave me some tips for YouTube as well. Told me a little bit about his journey. If you scroll through, that conversation's on there. Also the one with Amanda Serrano. So both really nice people in the sport. And say what you want about Jake Paul, he really does take the sport seriously. So whether or not I agree with the fight itself, because, you know, if you guys know me, massive Mike Tyson fan. So I don't really like the fight, if I'm going to be totally honest. But at the end of the day, Mike Tyson, he's a grown man. He makes his own decisions. He's getting paid. He's getting looked after. So you just have to sit back because it's happening anyway. And we can get into Tony Bellew turning up, doing a bit of a cameo. I don't know where he got his microphone from, but yeah, doing a bit of a cameo out there as well. Let's have a wee look. So yeah, G-Man, spot on with that. More Adidas awaiting when that TNT. Listen, I've got issues. I'm probably going to end up kicked out at this rate because I've had another delivery today, guys, of some Adidas stuff. If you follow my IG, you'll know that I'm an Adidas nutcase. Even though today I'm repping my own brand, but because I've come back from the gym. So yeah. Let's have a look. Chris Wash, AJ versus Dubois pay-per-view price was worth it with what happened on that night. AJ versus Ngannou pay-per-view price wasn't worth it. So it can be good and be bad. And it's about finding that balance, isn't it? So we'll have to see. Hakan, is that Hakan Johansson? If it is, good evening. If it's not, I do apologize. So Hakan's ringside live. Big up to yourself as well. So yeah, good evening to you. It's dead. Less than 100 views on Golden Boy and Boxer. That's awful. I did say that I had a tip. Somebody messaged me with the numbers and said, look at this. There they are. Pro subs. So shout out to you for giving me those figures because it's only you was why I went and had a look. Otherwise, I'm not interested. But to see that in the flesh, wow. Taking a little bit of a hit. But it's one of them. It's early days. Let's have a look. Rem saying, I was watching Joel Stunner boxing latest and he discussed how the brain shrinks with age, leaving more space for it to rattle in the skull when hit. Yeah, very, very true. Well, you can go and look at any neurologist YouTube page and see that. And obviously continuously getting punched in the head because obviously fighters are going to get wet if they're swimming, one for a better word. That also can cause issues as well. It's a dangerous sport. And that's why I said I try not to be, you know, disrespectful. When we talk about being disrespectful, you know, name calling fighters when I haven't even got the, you know, the kahunas to get up and go and do what they do. Yeah, never mind age. Just think of all of the fights he had. Remember Rem? I think Mike Tyson was he still around in 15 rounds? Were they still doing 15 rounds with Mike? I think there might have been. Don't quote me on that, but he's been in some solid fights, and yeah, he's been knocked out as well. So just think of that damage and think of the break, how many years he's had out, etc., etc. So there's a lot, and like I said, I get a little bit emotional over it because, you know, that was like Mike Tyson's like an idol of mine because, like, every time I watch him, I just remember sitting down watching the fights with my mom, who obviously she's no longer here with us. So I have that nostalgia. That's why I've always wanted to meet him, just to even get a picture. If you give me a conversation, yeah, brilliant. But just to meet him, I know that my mom would have been like, "Oh, girl, that's an achievement." So Chris is saying, I'm only interested in the Taylor versus Serrano and the Latino card. I don't like the freak show fight. B-Tech Disney Cat I don't like the freak show fight. The B-Tech Disney Cat Weasel ain't stupid and smart and knows what he's doing. Okay. I don't know. I think you'll let us know in the chat. Yeah, he got escorted out by the law, didn't he? Didn't he get wasn't it police officers that like says, "Come on, you're coming with us, get out," kind of thing. That was insane. Because it just popped up on X, and obviously he was just shouting his mouth off. I don't even know what was he actually saying. Was he having a go at Jake Paul for trying to fight Mike Tyson? Is that what it was, or was he calling out Jake Paul? I still haven't got my head around that bit yet because I've been trying to catch up with some of the interviews that are out on the channels at the moment. It's a good thing for Latino night that they're not on the same day. Yes, I forgot. One is on Friday, isn't it? And one's on Saturday. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Jake Paul, I was just saying about name calling. Jake Paul has done loads for Amanda Serrano, to be fair. So, yeah, you got to give him his props on that. They've made a lot of money. And, you know, one of the things that he did with Amanda, which I really liked, was her image, the way that he changed her image, the way, you know, that he made her look a bit more glamorous, stuff like that. Just totally like revamped Amanda Serrano as a fighter. And I love to see it. Anybody that helps you progress and helps you get better, you've got to keep them around. Whether you sitting on the outside, you think that you don't really take to that person or whatever, look at the people that are around them. And if you see those people elevated, you see them getting better, you look, it's meant to be. So yeah, fair play to Jake Paul. Let's have a look. Hi Rob Protagonist, good evening. I don't think I've seen you before, so good evening. Takes the sport seriously by never fighting a young active boxer. When I say he takes the sport seriously, I'm looking at his training. I'm looking at the fact that he actually wants to be a boxer. He's not just in there just for the sake of it. He's not in there short term. Yes, you're right. He could fight a young active boxer. We could talk about opponents. I'm just talking about his attitude towards his training and obviously taking it seriously, as in he wants to be better. Look, I've said it. I don't agree with the Mike Tyson fight, but it's happening. They're all making money. They've obviously sanctioned a 27-year-old to fight a 57 or 58-year-old. It's been sanctioned. It's all agreed. So it's on them. And people are going to watch, aren't they? You know, even me, like, I'm totally against it, but I've been watching the presser. I've been watching the lead up, and I was thinking, you know what? I might watch it. I don't know yet, but I might watch it. I was even thinking, should I do a watch along with you guys as well? And I was like, in and ahhing, but we'll see. Oh, Toby's back in about the ring girls again. Abs, it's the ring girls that make the difference in views. MVP has them and Saudi doesn't. I think it just depends who's on the card. The timing for this, like I said, everything seems to be clashing with the events that are happening. So I think the timing may be a little bit more strategic planning around timings for pressers, etc. A little bit of strategy could have gone into that. Absolutely. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano rematch is my main event on the show. It's going to be a phenomenal fight. we love when those two girls, they are fantastic dance partners. They are both aggressive, both come forward. It's an absolute war. Sometimes when you think, even Amanda was saying to Katie, I admire her. She's had, how many amateur fights? She's the Olympian. I didn't have that many amateur fights, but I know that we're going to make good dance partners and we're going to entertain the fans and we're going to make a lot of money. I even heard Jake Paul sort of make a dig saying, yeah, we're going to do the trilogy. So are you talking about trilogies? Yeah, I'll make sure I put that on at Croke Park. I don't know what's happened with Jake Paul and Eddie Hearn, because sometimes when it comes to like the gossip side of stuff, I'm not really that interested. So if you guys can fill me in with what happened with them two, because I don't know, please feel free to put it in the chat. But obviously Jake Paul's got a little bit of an issue with Eddie Hearn. I heard something about, is somebody getting sued? I don't know. But I think Eddie's going to turn up to the fight because obviously Katie is his fighter. Neither can I, Ra. Neither can I. It's one of them, innit? But we'll see. I'm not quite dead yet. Right, let's have a look. It's not the boxer we want. Jake Paul, I just don't like the fight. When Tyson fought for 20 years, yeah, and he was finished 20 years ago. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's, like I said, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me. It's going to be uncomfortable for a few boxing fans. But listen, Mike Tyson's the one that's chose to do it. And I'm going to keep, I can say what I like online. And even if I did meet him, I'll be like, yeah, I was a bit uncomfortable about that. But you seen what happened. Did somebody go at him at the presser? And he literally like just tore him. I think there was a lady that asked him a question at the presser, like potentially saying, if you lose. And she went again. And he's like, you're not listening to me, are you? I said, I'm not going to lose. So you can imagine going up to him. He's been training hard. You can see he's fully focused. He's not really having big conversations with anybody. Didn't really say much at the press conference. He's like, I just want to fight. Nobody don't talk to me about losing. I'm going to win the fight. And he's proper locked in. Somebody asked him, how would Cus D'Amato feel if he, how do you think he'd feel if he was still alive, still around, still to see it? And he was saying he'd be happy. He'd be proud of him. Who knows? Nobody can answer that question. But the thing is with Mike Tyson, when, you get fighters and, you'll see it as well. You watch the interviews, you see the fighters speak. Some fighters, and I think Mike nailed it. He said, legacies for people with egos. I don't care about that. I just want to fight. Now, legacy is a big name that's often used, and I'll think about it as well. Who are the legacy fighters? Who are the ones that are going to leave that mark on boxing? And I would have said that legacy or a legend is Mike Tyson, but he's like, nah, I'm not interested in that. You can almost see him salivating at the thought of just putting those gloves on and going back into the ring. Yes, it's shortened rounds and time limit, I think, is 2 minutes instead of 3, but he's still hungry for it. And like I said, you guys will watch the conversations that we have with fighters, and there's more of how can I put it? And I'll blame social media again. There's more of like a celebrity status surrounding boxing. It's not like, when someone's in it because they really want all of the belts and they want to be the greatest champion, and they've got that hunger and they'll go through anything that's put in front of them. Not every fighter has that in their heart. Like I said, I think, you see a lot on social media where it's to blame for that. It's like you have an idealistic point of view of what this job is that you're going to do, and then you go and do it, and it's like, I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure, because you go through different emotions, the wins, the losses, teams splitting up, you moving around. There's all sorts of emotions attached to it. Chris Billam-Smith, and we can head that way and talk about the Latino night. And a massive shout out to Sky Sports Boxing that did an incredible piece with him where you just sat there with headphones and listening to sentimental messages from people in his life that he cared about. And I don't think people realize like the magnitude of what these fighters actually go through emotionally. Chris Billam-Smith mentioned his mom battling cancer twice, you know, also suffering a stroke. He said that she is his best friend. She's the one that's always there for him. And what this means to him, to have all of those people around him that support him, phenomenal. And these are types of, if you're going to call them interviews, these are the type of content that I'd like to see from fighters when we see what they're really about, what they're there for. Chris Billam-Smith is classed as probably an overachiever. I think he would probably say that himself. He's come through so many battles, not afraid to take a fight. Fair enough, he's going in against Zerdal to potentially unify. And then we know that we've got the bogeyman, Jai Opetaia, waiting at the other end, who I'm sure will be sat watching that with a keen eye. And that's the guy that is going to have to go through, because Jai Opetaia wants to obviously unify. He wants to be undisputed. And I have no doubt in my mind that Chris Billam-Smith wants the same. So, tricky one. I've not watched anything really that in depth with Zerdal, but I have watched some bits with Chris Billam-Smith. I'd also like to give a massive shout out to Rob Tebbett from Boxing News. And I will say, if you want to learn something, when I first started in boxing and I was going to a press conference to meet Josh Taylor when he was fighting the Jack Catterall, the first one in Scotland, I watched Rob Tebbett's interview with him, and I think back then it was Boxing Social he was on. But I learned so much about Josh Taylor that prepared me to go and speak to Josh Taylor, for him to say, okay, you've actually studied me. That's credit to Rob Tebbett, because Rob Tebbett speaks to the fighters and you learn things about them. So I've got to give him his respect where it's due as well. Let me get back to the chat. If you've just joined us, I'm Abs of October Red. And what I thought I'd do is like a drive time live. So wherever you're watching this or listening to it, I hope that me rambling on is keeping you entertained. I'd like to touch base with the subscribers more often and just have a catch up. Just go through what's happening in the sport, any rumors that we're hearing, anything that's happening on X. I'm going to cover a couple of things that I saw earlier on X as well in regards to some other fights that are potentially happening. Right, let's have a look. So Rye's saying some way I deserve AJ's Under Armour discount code for buying 4 pairs of their boots. You're joking, ain't it? You know, Adidas sent me, they said, oh yeah, as a value customer is 10% off your order for your birthday. 10%. Yeah. I think that's why I don't like burpees. I feel like my brain is rattling around. I love burpees. I won't be shocked if Froch or Bellew came back for the money to get in with Jake Paul. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see. I think, to be fair, I think Tony Bellew's got the itch for boxing. I think he'd love to come back, but I think that his family would say, no, you're not doing it. But you can see he's still around the sport. I mean, who knew that he was going over to the US to gate crash the press conference? I thought he might have been in Saudi doing DAZN broadcast, but no, he's obviously out in the US. I think it's a bit gullible of people to think that this is going to be some sort of all-out war. 14-ounce gloves are basically sparring gloves, glorified sparring, match incoming like the Tyson Jones rematch. But people are buying into it. You haven't got, it's not pay-per-view either. It's included in the Netflix subscription. So it's not pay-per-view. I'm sure it's not pay-per-view, but I know you'll correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Glorified sparring session? We'll see, won't we? We will see, G-Man. We will see. I just don't want either to get hurt, because the media will end up standing on their soapboxes. So hopefully it's a moving around fight. And that might allude to what G-Man's just commented in there. If it is potentially, and I don't think it will be, but if it is that kind of glorified sparring session, then we can think safety first. But I'm sure they will have everybody on hand because of the, 30 years age difference between the boys, the boy and the man. Massive age difference. So yeah, James, hey, good evening to you. Here is another one. Not watching it, but if Tyson wins, I'll watch it many times. I don't think this show will be fair on Katie either. You reckon? What makes you say that, James? Interesting. I'll name this account later. Good evening to you. We should be boycotting this fight. It's fun, also all fun and games until Tyson gets hurt. And this is what I'm saying. This is like the general consensus from the public. We're not saying it because we're being like horrible or, you know, we're saying it because most of us have watched Tyson's fight. We know his journey. We know that he, like they said in the chat, 20 years, he's been out the ring, etc., etc. It's dangerous. Of course it is. But people will watch it. Hallelujah, Joseph. Thank you for joining us, Joseph. Everyone say amen to Joseph. I must find some Instagram content to make you shout at me about going to church again, Joseph. Good evening to you. All right, okay. So Seconds Out had a video from behind Bellew and you can hear him better. Okay, so Radio Raheem's out there. I'm going to presume the representative for Seconds Out over in the US. I'll have to listen to that. I've been scraping around trying to find that as well. It was nice to see Bellew spending time with the family. Yeah, the family. His second family is the boxing family, isn't it? People entitled to light ring girls, etc. But obviously, there's walk-on girls for the darts. You know what? I didn't even. There's walk-on girls for the darts. That's a new one. Obviously, I don't watch darts, so that's new on me. G-Man saying they have sanctioned it because they know it's not going to be a real fight. Mike ain't stupid. He knows that he was washed as a pro 2 decades. G-Man, did you have to say washed? I can't. Can we just say that he retired 20 years ago after suffering losses? Do you have to washed, bum? It's just so hurtful. That guy entertained us for years. But yeah, let's have a look. Bellew has been searching high and low for Jake's comeback opponent after Mike wins and brought 107-year-old Norman, the king of the care home. I saw that. It was an older gentleman, and I think did he say something about he can't do Thursdays because he's got the bingo? Yeah, insane. Yeah, something to do with Hearn suing Jake for sort of right. See, you know as much as I do then. Seriously, not even tempted. It's such an easy fight not to watch due to the time zones. Yeah, I hear that. You have to want to watch a fight like that to stay up so late. And I do agree. Like I said, I was umming and ahhing, but this is the thing, Jazzy. When I'll like not watch stuff, and then today, because I knew I was doing this, because I'm looking at it from a business point of view, I'm looking at it Netflix versus DAZN. We haven't got there yet, but that's how I'm looking at it. So I thought, let me just inhale all this content and see what's happening with it. And like I said, I thought, shall I watch it? Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. I think I've set my alarm for that. I think I put like 3 a.m. because that fight's going to be on first, isn't it? To be fair, they could have done what they usually do in boxing, is make that the headline so everyone stays until the end. Make sure they stay until the end, but we'll see. These influencer boxers are not my cup of tea, but fair play to them getting paid for it. When they started YouTube, started getting YouTube views for putting toy cars in buckets of water. It's what sells, isn't it? It's what the kids look at. If you want to invest, I guess, in the future, you've got to find out what the trends are, and what the trends are. Go to any, obviously, legitimate reason. Just listen to like school kids, what they're talking about, and they will show you trends if that's what you're into. I'm not into trends, but I get why certain people would necessarily go that route. I'm a believer of creating your own trends. Right, G-Man saying, I heard Jake was getting 20 mil, and Tyson was getting 20 mil. A lot of dough for an exhibition. So it's 8 rounds, 8 2-minute rounds. Thanks, G-Man. $20 million. Now, if you're Mike Tyson, look, I'm not saying that he hasn't got money, because he has. If somebody said to you, come out of retirement for 20 mil for 16 minutes, not including rest periods, yeah, what are you going to do? So what's that? 16, 22 minutes. What are you going to do? Are you going to turn it down? It's one of them, isn't it? Raymond, I ain't seen you for a bit. Big up to yourself as well. Right, G-Man, it's a good question. I'm gonna back Chris Billam-Smith, because I'll always back the Brit. The only fight I remember with Zerdal was when he got really outboxed by Dimitri Bivol. But Dimitri Bivol is an elite boxer, moves around the ring well, and Zerdal didn't seem to like that. I think Chris Billam-Smith's style will suit Zerdal more. I think it could be tricky, but I'm going to back Billam-Smith. I've got to. So I'm going to back him for the win, because I think you can't really write him off, because he finds a way to win. He listens to his corner. He's very studious, he is. You get a lot of fighters that do their own thing, but I think Shane has got perfect eyes to be able to manage a fight and manage it moving forward and anticipate things that are going to happen. So it's quite interesting to listen to Shane in the corners. I do like listening to him. So I'm going to say Billam-Smith, but I don't know, because nobody really knows, do they? I don't know. What are you saying, G-Man? What are you guys saying in the chat? Who do you think's going to win? Let's have a wee look. I'll name this account later. Jake Paul made defamatory comments. Ah, right. Okay, so it's defamation of character. Alex, don't start this again. Good evening to you. Mike doesn't look in good health. What makes you say that, Raymond? I just thought he was locked in. But elaborate on that. Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know. I want to know what you've seen, and then maybe we can compare some notes. Philip, good evening to you. How you doing? Joseph, got the pictures waiting, mate. Got the pictures waiting. Do not check my Instagram tomorrow night, because I might be out. Don't worry, I'm a big darts fan, and I'll watch the Walk On Girls too. Oh, God, you guys need to be stopped. Iffy, how you doing? Greetings. I feel for Shannon Briggs. He was told he was too old to fight, and now Tyson's collecting 20 mils. Well, you know why that is. Tyson's the bigger name. When was he told that he couldn't fight, and who was the fight with, Iffy? Because I know he still had quite a big presence in boxing till maybe about 5-6 years ago, as in he was turning up, mouthing off, calling out fighters. I can remember that. But what fight was it? Oh, I'm Scotty. Oh, don't apologize. And shout out to the Scots. Lovely people. And I love your accent. And the further north you go, the more honest people get. So by the time you get to Scotland, whatever they say to you, it's the gospel. Take it from me. So shout out to Scotland as well. I'm Scottish. When I said washed, I meant he was done. Absolutely no disrespect meant. I'm old enough to have watched him from the start. Yeah, me too. We're both old enough then. Jake's getting 40 and Tyson's getting 20. Oh my days. That's a lot of money. Damn, I'd get if somebody said to me 20 million, go and get slapped up by Mike Tyson. Yeah, I'm doing it. Has he gone to Malik Scott? Okay. Chris Billam-Smith. If another Malik Scott fighter loses, then surely he gets the sack this time. Hasn't Deontay Wilder put something out? Or am I tripping? I've seen a couple of people share something from Deontay Wilder, but I'm not sure if it's recent. Did somebody mention that he's coming back and he's not retiring? I think I've seen something on social media. Like I said, guys, let me know in the chat. There's so much going on at the moment. Mike is walking like an 80-year-old that's just had a gym session. He needs to rest. Hopefully the fight doesn't last too long. Yeah, but you're saying that, Iffy. Hopefully the fight doesn't last too long. So what you're saying that he's going to get absolutely tough one. G-Man saying I always pick against CBS and he wins. So I picked Zerdo on points because I don't want the curse to curse the gentleman. Yeah. Yeah. Phenomenal fighter, very studious. Been with Shane. You know, he practically just went in there and sat in the gym, asked Shane to train him. Shane was like, I've got a full stable, I've got a full set of fighters, and Billam Smith. AP always stops me in my tracks. AP, I can't put that on the screen. But good evening to you, and it's always a pleasure to see you. And I hope the missus is okay and not giving you too much headache. Speaking of missus, where's Jim McDonald? And I still can't work out if that's a real account or not. But yeah, back to CBS. He's very studious. He's very determined. And like I said, he wants to win. But I need to know, guys, seriously, what are your thoughts of Netflix? Because I've had a Netflix subscription from when it was probably about £7. So I've had the subscription from a very long time. So what do you think about them coming into the boxing industry? That was one of the things that I wanted to discuss. Is that a good thing? Are we going to see potentially, fair enough, Most Valuable Promotions will probably use them again. But then now we've got a hint of obviously Matchroom using them because Katie Taylor being a Matchroom fighter. I'm not sure who all the rest of the stable are. I know that some of them are Most Valuable Promotions, fighters, but Netflix entering boxing. We saw what people have been saying. People have said to me, but Abs, look at they've got like millions of subscribers, millions. So imagine the numbers that this fight, I'll be very interested to see what the numbers are going to be following this fight. So it was when he was self-promoting around the KSI and Logan fight. I remember him and Vidal went at it. Everyone called him old and done. Interesting. Okay. Jake's pay is more. Okay, we're talking common sense here. Jake's pay is more because his company is promoting the fight. It's a lot of money though. Well, I always think, where does this revenue come from? Fair enough. I know he's got other businesses, other entities. I'm aware that they've potentially got an energy drink as well, that they do put fights on. But yeah, that's a lot of money. 40 million. Yeah, I'm going to get some schooling now. Was rewatching some of the Zerdo and CBS fights earlier, and I know it's going to be a very fan-friendly fight. Truth be told, it's 50-50. Yeah. It's one of them. You can't call it, can you? We can all say who our favorite is. We can all say who we want to win. But we just don't know. It just depends on the night. Never had Netflix, a vile company. Oh, I have. Sorry. I'm on Netflix. Zerdo is co-trained by Malik. Not a good sign. Interesting. So what did he say in the video, Rem? I'd like to know what he said in the video. If I wasn't using my phone as a camera, I'd quickly go on there. Let's have a look. Netflix control the numbers, so they will say whatever. They'll say it did 1 billion streams, and people will believe it. Interesting. And that comment was by Iffy Sid and not me. I read out the comments, guys, just to let you know. And I did have to let everyone know this on a recent live that I did. The views are that of the people who comment or the guests that are on the channel. So if you've just joined us, I'm Abs of October Red. I can't believe we've been going for 40 minutes. I said this was supposed to be half an hour. So let me just quickly have a scoot on Twitter and see what's happening. Sorry, X. Let me see what's happening in the world of X. You know what? I find a very strange thing that's going on at X at the moment. We've had a couple of people announcing that they're not going to be using X anymore. And one of them was The Guardian. I don't know if anybody saw that. Let's have a look. I think Usyk's up to his old tricks and has put up a video basically taunting Tyson ahead of their fight on December the 21st. Can't wait for that rematch. Cannot wait for it. I'll be here doing a watch along. But guys, I'll let you into a secret. I was going to go out there, you know. I was going to go. I was thinking, just go. And then I changed my mind again. Yeah. So I'm not going. So I'm going to be doing a live watch along. But I was very tempted because I think, obviously, being in the industry, I think it'd be very ignorant of me not to go out there. But I changed my mind again. So I'm going to do a watch along. But what I will be doing, they should still be going in 2025. And if I can still get accreditation, I'm definitely going to be going out there for one of their fights for sure. Anyway, back on Twitter. Let's see what's happening. Oh, Boxing Beats and Rhymes have just posted something. I don't know what's happening. Boxing Beats and Rhymes, I don't know if you're in the chat or you're listening somewhere, let us know. It's half an hour, and shout out to him as well. I love his channel. That's my therapeutic running channel. I call it. I like his voice. Start making up S. You wouldn't do it for other fighters. If Ajit ducked Bakoli, he ducked. What's going on? It's not the purse bids for that. When did I have? Hold on a minute. It was the purse bids for them, wasn't it? Today. Guys, let me know if you found anything out about Martin Bakoli versus Ajit Kabayel. Yikes. Callie and Nissi Sowlands put up the two big eyes staring. Don't know what that means. Oh, UFC on TNT Sports. Yep, okay. Yep, that's always been there anyway. Adael Deepol's just tweeted, wait, hasn't it? 3 hours ago. Jake Paul versus Tony Bellew, please. Just trying to find something out. Obviously, we've had His Excellency has acquired the Ring magazine as well. That came out recently as well. Another string to his bow, we could say. I think he's complemented the format, but obviously wants to do a couple of things to improve it. And I think he's acquired 100%. I want to make a few things clear. The print version of the magazine will return immediately after a 2-year hiatus, and it will be available in the US and UK markets. The magazine will be fully independent with the brilliant writers. I wonder if he's going to keep them, and focusing on every aspect of the sport of boxing. We will restore the legacy of the Ring rankings to its old mechanism with a fully independent panel that lives up to the Ring magazine's golden era. We will continue to raise the prestige of Ring titles, and plans are already underway to have a yearly extravagant awards ceremony, which I like, to celebrate the very best in the boxing industry. It goes on. You can have a look. I think that's a statement from His Excellency. I don't know when he put that up. It might have been yesterday or a couple of days ago. Just having a look at Mike Tyson on the weight at the scales. And here we go. Now 3-0. Queensbury Promotion. Christian Fetty have signed another fighter again. Interesting. 3-0 fighter. Yep, we've already spoke about Usyk saying to Tyson that he'll never leave him alone. Interesting. So yeah, I can't see anything that's glaringly obvious. Yeah, I should have went out there. Should have went, but it's one of them, innit? So Rem saying, why with the lie? It's easy to calculate live viewership. It's going to be huge. And I agree with Beats, one of the best boxing channels. Yeah, he is. Can't argue with that. Maka, good evening to you. Yeah, it is. Is Latino Night free? Oh, on the YouTube channel now. I just think it's on the DAZN app. I don't think it's on the YouTube channel. I think it's free for we subscribe. So obviously it's a paid subscription. But no, I don't think it's free on YouTube, bro. Chris is saying Ramirez versus Billam Smith is a true 50-50. I think we're all on the same page for this. It's a pick and fight, two fighters who will be tough as anything. Chris has overachieved massively and yet to impress you as a champion. AP, we can't do this. We can't do this. We've seen what's happening. We can't do this, AP. He basically said everyone has setbacks and he's going to be back better. He also made an excuse. His right arm was broken during the Zhang and Parker fight. Okay, well, if he says that they were broken in both fights. You know, hopefully they're on the mend, or whatever arm it is, whichever side. Hopefully that is on the mend. We'll see. I think, to me, well, we know that Anthony Joshua is not fighting Daniel Dubois. I'll be interested to see who Daniel Dubois is actually fighting. I think lots of people are screaming for Joseph Parker. What I want to know is what's happened to Zhilei Zhang. That's a fight. I'll probably touch base with his coach as well. I need to find out what's happening with him, because it's like he's been just on the shelf a bit, as is Joe, but Joe's very active, putting bits up on his social media. Obviously trained by the body puncher, as in Andy Lee, very active on there. He doesn't seem like he's in Tyson Fury's camp, but obviously Tyson Fury is going to have those Southpaw guys in there. Not sure if Moses Atuma is going to be over there, because obviously he's fighting on the same day, isn't he? Dempsey McKean, good fight. Another good, I think that's a step up, because Dempsey McKean fought Philip Hrgovic. I think he's going in the right direction. I think I tweeted it, put it out on X as well. I think he's managed very, very well. His career progression, I like to see it. He's extremely active, and they're growing him properly. So I like to see that. Dave Allen versus Johnny Fisher as well, the Romford Bull. Interesting fight, but obviously all eyes are going to be on the main event. Is Fury going to do it this time? Can he do it this time? I believe that he can. I think I enjoyed the fight last time, and I'm looking forward to see rerun again. CJ, I'm thinking, hold on, if he said, AP, we can't do this. We can't do it, but I acknowledge that you're here. Zhang got shelved by Queensbury. We need to probably ask, next time I speak to the big man Frank, I'll ask what's happening with Zhilei Zhang, because it should have been him and Parker for the rematch. I think Parker said he's been in 2 or 3 different training camps. I think he potentially mentioned Ajit Kabayel. Then he obviously mentioned Daniel Dubois. So he's staying ready. But yeah, it'd be interesting to find out what's happening with Zhang. Jay, I know you've mentioned that, but wasn't there a rumor about potentially it's gonna be Chisora versus Miller? I don't know if that's true. That might have just been a strong rumor. Never take my word for it, but I'm sure there was rumors that Miller was going to fight Chisora, but I'm not sure. I think the perfect fight. Good evening, Vladimir, and AP. Please don't start. I think the best fight for Anthony Joshua, and I think it's a fight that still, even now more than ever, will carry momentum, is if he fought Wilder. There is rumors you've mentioned there that Dillian Whyte. There's some rumors that he's potentially fighting soon, or we'll wait to get an update for him. He obviously wants to get back in the mix as well. So yeah, we'll wait and hear if there's some fight news from him. I think I saw someone put something out on X earlier about that. Good evening, Big Papa. See, Chisora Miller was February 2025. Yeah, I'm sure we're looking at the same stuff. Sportsmaster saying, pretty sure Chisora versus Miller taking place next year, February. See, everyone saying the same thing. So we're definitely all reading it. I'm not seeing things. Obviously, nothing's confirmed, but it's potentially something that's going to happen. Wilder versus Whyte is the perfect fight. Whoever loses must retire. See, I always wanted to see Whyte versus Miller, or Miller versus Whyte, whatever order you want to put it in. I'd like to see Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder and Jarrell Miller versus Dillian Whyte on the same card. I don't think that's a bad shout. But we'll see. Yes, in Manchester. Yeah, okay. Let's have a look. But Coley Caballero purse bid was held at 5 p.m. So it was okay. Well, something's come out, because Boxing Beats and Rhymes is saying that, as mentioned, like I said there, about something being ducked. So I'll be interested, because I had the lovely Billy Nelson on YouTube live earlier on this week. Really enjoyable conversation. he told me a lot of stuff about Martin that I didn't know, including Makabu being his brother, and that they're from royalty over in the Congolese. They're like, their family's like royalty. I learnt a bit about him because I think Bacoli's over there training at the moment, but he's due to come back soon. Obviously, he's got Crocker that's going up against Paddy Donovan. I think that fight should be happening as well. He's got a few fights in there, and I didn't realize how many fighters Billy Nelson actually had. I knew he was a former fighter himself, but the one that he shouts the loudest about has always been Martin Bacoli. He's also now got acquired Richard Riakporhe, who he assures me has improved a hell of a lot on his style of fighting. He's potentially fighting in December. I got that out of him. But what a follow on from that was, and shout out to TalkSport, who got Billy Nelson on more or less straight after I did, is the fact that I think he's not fighting in the UK. So is that going to be a boxer card? One of the guys on X, mutual follows, he said, I can't see Boxer doing a card in December so early. It's too short notice. And to be fair, I think, Dave, that's you were right, because apparently this fight's potentially going to be abroad in December. You don't think it's going to be on the 21st, do you? Where's it going to be? Who knows? But I guess we just got to wait and see what happens with that. There you go, Chris. You've seen the same rumors that I have. I've got to wait for an update. I'm going to try and get Dillian Whyte on the channel. I doubt if he'll do a live, but I will ask him. I'm trying to get Frank Smith on as well, but that's not going to happen now. I did send him a message earlier. Obviously, he's busy. So yeah, I'll try and get hold of him. So I want to get him on before, obviously, their fight week, which is the 30th of November in Birmingham for Edwards versus Yafai. So I'm trying to get a couple of people on the channel, but obviously, everyone's busy. Mike, the heavy breathing doesn't look right and strong. Just doesn't look fit to me. I've seen guys older than him in better nick. Wow. Yeah. Vlad's put White should go on Sky. Yeah, he's currently promotionally free, isn't he? So yeah, we'll see what happens with him. Why on earth would Chisora agree to fight Miller? He will hurt. But what were people saying about Joe Joyce? The thing about Derek Chisora is his will to win. He has no specific style, no specific technique. You wouldn't look at him and say, wow, look how compact he is. Look how he moves around the ring, etc. But he's coming to take your head off. I think that's good. I like that. But I still prefer to see Dillian Whyte versus Jarrell Miller. But if Chisora fights him, yeah, I'm all for that as well. Sportsmaster saying, hey, Abs, looking forward to the November the 30th Birmingham show. Hearn said a big British boxing name will be added to the card too. Oh, that's interesting. British. Could it be Josh Taylor? Did Josh Taylor saying he's looking for a promoter this side of the pond because he just feels a little bit out of the loop? It'd be a bit short notice though, wouldn't it? I wonder who that is then. I'm waiting for Eddie Hearn to announce the heavyweights that he's signed. I'm still waiting for that. So AP saying that Miller would ice Dillian. Be a good fight to watch though. Maka, Miller versus White, a great shout. Yeah, I know I was complimenting the ladies, Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, for being so professional, having that etiquette, that sportsmanship. But the other side of me would really like to see Jarrell Miller and Dillian Whyte go at it. A memory popped up on my phone, and it's when I screen recorded the press conference for Derek Chisora versus Dillian Whyte, when, the table was thrown and Mark Tibbs threw the bottle of water at Derek for flipping the table. The good old days of boxing. And I think, Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller has that similar potential. But even saying that, Derek Chisora versus Jarrell Miller has that potential as well, because hot heads again. So yeah, there's fights to make. And these are good fights, even though there's no belts on the line. They're still good fights. They're entertaining fights. You've got the core British blood of heavyweights. Chisora, how many fights going into what 49, 50 fights? He's a veteran. I'm wondering why he hasn't got an MBE yet. I thought he would have been up for one. Chris White versus Miller is the perfect fight for me. Both similar similar physique, proper slugfest. Yeah, we can't argue with that. Right, you would presume Bakole Kabayel would be on the Riyadh season show, February the 22nd. Yeah, but I need to find out if anyone can let me know if you can flick through X to see if anything's happened with the purse bids. Jake Donovan's usually good for stuff like that. Dan Frost is usually good for stuff like that as well. If I'm just trying to think of accounts off the top of my head that might have put something out. To be fair, Michael Benson, he might have put something out because if you're saying purse bids 5 p.m. today, Wilder keeps on losing, so that Joshua fight will look so random now. Who would you like to see Joshua fight then? Miller seems to have lost weight before the Ruiz fight. Yeah, he did, and he definitely won that fight. That was insane, that was. Watch Billy Nelson interview. Great job, by the way. Yeah, he was lovely to speak to. He's very frank. Very honest and upfront, and I like that. I like when people just get to the point. Yeah, just get to the point, cut the chase, just say it how it is, and that's exactly what he does. And I think that'll be good for Richard as well. You could have a veterans tournament. AJ, Wilder, White, Joyce. Is Joyce a veteran? Chisora, Ruiz, Miller, all characters and diminished. That's another word. But fighting each other would be fun to watch. Are you saying that AJ is diminished, Ra? You're saying that Miller's diminished? Interesting. I won't mind the I'd rather them just be on the all the same card. I don't know about mixing them up, fighting each other, because you're saying they're diminished. That's a bit of a risk to start doing a tournament style with those guys. Yeah, not spring chickens. Ben Shalom said they will do a card in December. Did he? Okay. Well, it's not long now, is it? So where are we? We're halfway through November. My Christmas tree goes up on the 1st of December. Obviously, the 7th of December, we've got Queensbury Promotions. We've also got GBM, and I'm sure there's other shows on as well. So it can't be that weekend. So potentially it's going to be the week after that, because it can't be the week after that, because obviously we've got Usyk Fury 2. So you're looking at December. It's got to be what, the 14th? It's not going to be the 1st, is it? Because that is really cutting it fine. Not the 7th. The 14th, that weekend's free. So it's got to be then, but we'll see. Purse bid for... Oh, cancelled. So they've reached a deal then. Thank you for finding that out. I appreciate that. Purse bid for Bakole and Kabayel is cancelled officially. Looks like a deal's been reached. Interesting. What's your source for that, Rem? Just by any chance I can have a look-see on X. Boxing King, I saw an interview with... I'm trying to remain professional. So could you refrain from putting things in the comments that's going to make me chuckle? I saw an interview, and the thing is, now I'm going to say who it is. You're going to be like, oh, look, I saw an interview with Ben Shalom earlier saying he was waiting to announce a show for December. Okay, we've got it then. So I'm going to say the 14th, guys. I think we'll see. It'd be horrendous to go up against Frank Warren on the 7th. Bakole is coming back here to Scotland to do his camp, so he could be appearing on the February card in Saudi. I hope he gets his chance, and I hope it's against Ajit on the Saudi card. Brilliant. It'd be nice. Let's keep the hopes up. You heard it here. Rem broke the news. Purse bids is officially cancelled. They've reached it. Well, it usually means they've reached a deal. Joyce was finished, though. Miller looked impressive against Ruiz and has a chin. Yeah, he's always been solid, hasn't he? Yeah. You know, yeah. Yeah, Zhang Bakole, we said this in the beginning, didn't we, on one of the watch-alongs that we did. We said that is a fight that we would like to see, because it's like the two the giants, aren't they? Absolute giants. Josh Taylor is signed into Matchroom. Take it from a Scotsman. Yeah, I thought it might be. I thought he might do. I like Josh Taylor a lot. I think he's brilliant. Nice guy. Taylor's been rumoured. Yep. So we've got echoes of that in the chat. Miller says the same thing at the press conference. Press conferences, beg your pardon. Soft as Baby S. It was funny at one point. Are you saying he needs to get some new lines? Listen, Dubois the one with the lines. I'm the dad. What did he say? I'm the King Slayer or the Daddy Slayer. Can't remember. But he's going to be a dad now, isn't he? Interesting. Bacoli and Caballero both deserve big fights with their performances. Absolutely they do. But so does Joseph Parker. I've got to beat the drum for Joseph Parker. Because to me, he's the most improved heavyweight. The most improved. You might not agree with me, but I say what I think, and that is what I believe. And he really needs to be up there, challenging as well. He's well taught. He's a former world champion. He's that level, and he's getting better. And remember, he's quite young, isn't he? He was boxing from when he was a kid. I think he was a world title holder at the age of 24. He was young. He's got loads of miles left. Yep, Perspeed's cancelled. A nice one. Yep, got it. So Dan Raphael said a minute ago, brilliante. We're having the sources coming in. Huh? I read Caballero's pulled out. Nah, don't say that. Oh, you're joking. Oh, guys, listen. Dan Raphael news. Thank you for putting this in, Sportsmaster. Per IBF, both purse bids today were cancelled. Heavyweight eliminator between Caballero and Bacoli because Caballero is pursuing a different direction. So who's Bacoli going to fight now then? Who's it? Zhang. Fight Zhang. Just throw it out there. Fight Zhang. So they've not reached an agreement. Caballero is pursuing a different direction. So that's why Beats was saying a duck's a duck, isn't it? Fair enough. I'm not saying that. Beats said it. Hi, Beats. Does Atuma stop Joyce? And what does Clark versus Atuma look like? I'll leave that up for the chat. I don't know. You see, I'm not really good at making these predictions. But I know Fraser Clark is back in the gym. I've reached out to him as well. So hopefully we'll get something done together. I want to do a proper sit down with him. You know what I'm like. Fraser and I will sit down and we can talk boxing for ages. Really lovely guy. And I do want to speak to him. Remember, he kindly offered to sponsor me for me to go out to Saudi. But me being me just said, no, concentrate on the fight and I'll see you when you get back. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Clark. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Dan Raphael and 130 title bout between Kakachi and Nunes. Purse bid is cancelled because they reached an agreement. We like it. Kakachi versus Nunes. I think there was a little bit of friction there where Eddie was saying that, he's ducking. He doesn't want to take the fight. He's talking about obviously going up in weight. No, have it. Defend your belt. There you go. Kakachi. Shout out to Antol Kakachi. Clark versus Takivi. Perfect combat fight for Clark. I really don't know what Joyce does. No, I don't know either, to be fair. Guys, before I go then, because I didn't think I'd be on here for hours. I literally said half an hour to catch up with you guys. But I guess once I start, my mouth just keeps on running. But it's always good to have a catch up. Right, Bacoli, Caballero's not happening now. So, okay. So I'm going to make the assumption it's going to be Caballero versus Parker, potentially. I'd like to see Bacoli versus Zhang. I've got no foundation for that. I'd just like to see it. And what about the other boys? How would you match them up? And I'll leave that as a finale chat. Yeah, Clark versus Takivi. Yeah, that can work. And they had a little bit of a two in and a throw in the beginning as well. Jamie Takivi, once again, a lovely guy. Lovely guy. Again, lovely guy. There's some real good sports in the sport of boxing that I've had the pleasure of speaking to. Joshua versus Zhang. Next. Credible combat fight with the Olympic history. Yeah, the Olympic history that they've got. I agree. I can't argue with that. Okay, so Billy Nelson's gone straight for the neck again. He said on X that Caballero pulled out and won't fight Martin. Martin is in such a horrible place. I just make the Zhang fight. Oh, there you go. And Benson said Bakoli versus Zhang will be ordered instead. Let's go, guys. Let's have that because I like that fight a lot. Yeah, he's gone off on one. Yeah, fair enough. We've got that echoing in the chat. Yeah, Beats called it early. Absolutely. I totally agree, Ra. What Parker has done is exceptional, improving in his 30s. And yeah, I can't. The most improved. You know, if they had like award ceremonies, you know, obviously His Excellency was talking about having Ring Magazine award ceremonies. If they had an award ceremony, I would literally give Joseph Parker the award for the most improved heavyweight 2024. Brilliant. AP saying there will be no shows from Boxer in December. Yes. Okay. AP, why did I put your comment on there? Because all you do is cause havoc. But you know what, AP? I wouldn't have you any other way. Agreed. Parker defeated Zhang and Wilder, so he should get the title shot. Right, the signs are coming in. Nah, it's looking well. Or is it Caballero Parker? Yep, and let Zhang fight Bakoli. Too many cowards up there. No one wanting that smoke. Sort them out. Nope, looks like we're not joking. It's happened, and it broke it. Well, it didn't. It broke first on X, but then we ran it through on here. Oh yeah, I forgot about Yoka. Yeah, that's insane. But there's obviously a reason why he's pulled out of it. Exploring another direction. The answer is always in there, isn't it? Joyce versus Yoka. I like that. Battle of the Olympic people. Jack, thank you very much. Not bad, considering I rushed home from the gym. Yeah, and I'm not going to say which gym this is, but I'm going to say to people, when you use these £25 a month gyms they're all over the country, yeah, don't wee in the showers, use the toilet because the showers smell. And if I didn't have sliders on, I'd have to have disinfected my feet with bleach. Anyway, Hunter will fight Bakoli, but I think he's still signed. Is he? Nah, Bakoli Zhang, iffy. I think somebody's already put it in the chat. Maybe Caballero pulled from purse bids as he's fighting Dubois, and this is it now. This is the kind of whirlwind that this is going to stir up. He's obviously pulled out for a reason. Going in another direction would potentially suggest that there's another fight lined up for him. Don't be fooled by Parker. What makes you say that? AJ waits for Fury. You should be doing that. Dubois versus Parker, Bakoli versus Zhang, Caballero versus Ruiz. Can see that for some reason. Okay. Chisora versus Miller. And White against another tune-up. These tune-ups, man. These tune-ups, when you're going through to you're on the other side of your career, innit? If Ajit is in with Triple D next, he's not. See, this is where it gets technical. So if Ajit Caballero fights Daniel Dubois, it's not classed as a duck. It's a strategic move to go for a world championship belt. Guys, Ra's got a point. Oh, Mike Tyson to win by KO or TKO inside 4 rounds. I'm nervous about this, Jack. I'll probably get up and watch the highlights if I'm honest. Parker versus Ruiz. Yeah, they fought before, didn't they? No, I haven't seen that video. I'll have to have a look. Oh, bless him. Bless him. Bless him. I'll have to watch. You think he's finished? No, he's been down, but he ain't been flattened, has he? I think he's improved loads. AJ should fight Fury, spark him out and retire into the sunset. Do you think he can? Chris, a genuine question. Ruiz is done. He didn't even get into shape for his last fight. Yeah, poor discipline. And another thing that I will say is when Eddie Hearn spoke about, I think was it Khalil Cole, saying that he didn't go into the fight, he wasn't prepared. Maybe struggled at the weight, whatever he said. And reiterating boxers not taking their camps seriously, not getting fit. It's so important. You're getting paid. You know, I've spoke to the promoters. To be fair, I spoke to Frank Smith from Matchroom, and he said the amount of money that they invest in fighters over the years, and sometimes those fighters won't necessarily bring them a credible, an expedite, a big return. Yeah. So for your fighter to turn up and not perform because they're clearly not fit, because I think he mentioned that Khalil was like gassing from round number 4 or 5. You got to turn up, and that's going back to the Ruiz fight. You know, I thought he would have learned from the rematch with Anthony Joshua. You can't. It doesn't matter how fast your hands are and this, that, and the other. You got to train. Billy can get carried away with himself with his comment. I don't know. I like it. I don't mind. He just says what he thinks, isn't it? It's like Ron Seal, like what he says it does on the tin, whatever the slogan was. Could be the promoters, no names, are blocking Bakole behind the scenes. Hearn saying that Bakole had no value. Yeah, I think I don't know. Are we going to do like the conspiracy theory around that? Do you know what I mean? I remember he said that he had no value because I didn't until Billy Nelson brought it up on the live, and I was like, okay, you think AJ can? So when Mike Tyson gets dropped and Jake Paul makes a meme out of it, I won't be surprised. We can't do this. Yeah, Cole. By the time Fury has been through the Usyk mill again, he'll be ripe to be KO'd by most heavyweight punchers, including the diminished. This is such a brutal. You know that word diminished? It's brutal. Diminished, AJ. Diminished. Look at the actual Collins Gem Dictionary version of what that means. Diminished. It's like when you have a bit of, I don't know, a bit of fabric, and it just dissipates in your hands. Diminished. Brutal word that is. Right, my prediction: Zurdo Ramirez points and Serrano points. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end this catch-up for now. But I might do them once a week, just in case. If there's no watch-along, I'll do them once a week, just so we can have a catch-up and a chat. And like I said, if any of you want to jump in, like with these ones, I'll post a link in the chat and you can jump on and we can discuss. I think I can have up to about 8 people on here or something crazy like that. As long as we can hear each other and we're not shouting over each other and that, I'm all for it. So next time we'll mix it up. We will mix it up. So ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I'm going to say au revoir. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to all of you that tuned in. The message is there. You know what to do. And yeah, just keep an eye out for some updates. But I'm going to head over to X now and have a rummage through the tweets from Billy Nelson, and obviously the announcement, which I'm going to presume is going to be pending now for Kabayel to ensure that his credibility is not lost. Guys, you're amazing, but I must leave. Au revoir.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.